At what point does working more hours in a week result in diminishing returns?
It's probably different for everyone. I think there are very few people who are going to see huge returns to working more than 50 hours a week consistently. And to be clear here, 50 hours is a lot. This is not just people saying like, oh, I work 50 hours a week. Like if you actually track your time, it is pretty hard to get to 50 hours. Because even if you're like sitting in your office for 12 hours, I mean, there's time that is not spent working. And you will become very aware of this as you track your time. There a week where you were even in the office, 12 hours a day most days, like one day it won't be that for some reason. And you might try to tell yourself that's atypical, but it's probably not. So it's very difficult to get to 50 hours consistently. The people who are logging more than that, if it's not for some one-off kind of reason, like, you're at a conference for a week, or it's like the week right before your one major deadline of the year, you're probably not going to be seeing a huge amount of returns. Most people can do very well working somewhere between 40 and 50. The average person with a full-time job tends to work somewhere between 35 and 40. And I have found that many of these sort of big jobs, the like demanding high paying jobs, tend to require somewhere between 40 and 50. So yes, more than 40, but not a ton more than 40. And if you are strategic about what you do in those 40 to 50 hours, you can see all kinds of great returns on that investment of time. And you probably can get to everything that is important to do. Now, if you want to, return all emails instantly, like I can't help you there, then you might be working 60 hours, but not seeing really a whole lot of return from it.
Are all hours in the day equally important for productivity?
So yes and no. An hour is just an hour. And I find that sometimes people can achieve various work-life breakthroughs by being a little bit more flexible about which hours they are choosing to use for different things. So for instance, if you need to work long hours in your particular job, but you also have young children that you would like to see who go to bed relatively early, what many people wind up doing is quitting work at a relatively reasonable time for the night, spending the time with their family in the evening, and then do more work at night after the children go to bed. And so in that world, you're being flexible and saying, well, 9 p.m. is actually a work hour, but because of that, maybe 4 p.m. doesn't have to be. And so that's a trade-off that a lot of people are more willing to make. Or for instance, if there is time you would like to do something, based on a personal commitment, like bring, kid to daycare a little bit later on Wednesday and spend that morning together, but then maybe work some on Saturday morning while your partner can take the kid. That can also be a trade-off that people are willing to make. So in that way, I do think that keeping more of the 168 hours of a week open for either work or life is good for many people. That said, most of us have some hours where we are more productive than others. And if you track your time, you will start to see this. You'll start to see, for instance, that like you are on fire at 8 a.m. in the morning. Like you can conquer the world at 8 a.m. 3 p.m., not so much. 3 p.m., you are, reading the same email 6 times in a row. You're getting distracted by stuff coming in on social media. Like you're really having a hard time focusing. If you know that about yourself, then you know to schedule your important career building, requires a lot of focused work at 8 a.m. in the morning. And to schedule like your email checking or those meetings that don't really matter, but are kind of like you have to do those at 3 p.m., right? Because you're going to do them anyway. You don't want to waste your best hours on the things that are not worthy of your best hours.